Getting started. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, Radha Radha everyone. So today we'll continue the second section of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is taken from the glory, which is the Mahatmyam of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is contained in the Uttarakhanda of glorious Padma Purana. So, before starting, let's do the invocation. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurudevo Maheshwarah, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right. So this discourse is called as a dialogue between the Kumaras and Narada. So, Sarvam Krishnarpnamastu. Let's just okay. So let's do a brief recap of what happened in the last discourse. So we discussed about Rishi Shaunaka, that he's a great scholar. He knows Vedas very well, specifically Atharvaveda, and he represented people from Naimisharanya who gathered in the Naimisharanya to do the yajna called Satra Yajna to reduce the effect of Kali, and they all also wanted their own development. So they gathered to learn uh, about the scriptures. So we learned about a place called Naimisharanya where this happened, the yajna happened, and how the place was finalized. We learned about the chakra that Brahma rolled on the towards the earth. I mean, it fell on earth and where it landed. And then we learned about Romaharshana, which was Uttamuni's father, who originally presented the Puranas to people, but how he got, killed by Balrama because he was having showing the signs of ego. So God did not consider him to be eligible to present, and then everybody requested him to bless Sutta Muni instead, and they asked the question. So Sutta Muni introduced Bhagavatam to people, and he said that he heard it directly from Shuka Muni, who actually told this to King Parikshit. So we learned about how King Parikshit got curse from a sage, and how gods also offered the nectar of life to him in exchange for the teachings of Bhagavatam from Shukamuni, and how he refused, and how he attained liberation by studying this or listening to Bhagavatam for 7 whole days and nights, and he did it without sleeping. Even though he was offered, he did not accept that. And then it was knowing that how this book is so powerful and how is it able to grant liberation. Brahma weighed it against all the spiritual practices and every other books, everything on spirituality, and how Srimad Bhagavatam, weighed the heaviest. And then he said that even if a person reads, studies, or even hears about it, they will get liberated. And then Sutamani also continued that how once the method of explaining Srimad Bhagavatam in 7 days was explained to Narada Muni by Sanakadi brothers. So that's what the whole thing is here. We are going to discuss how he met them. And then Narada was saying that he came here to experience joy on earth and to meet all the pious people, that what he saw was unrighteousness because of the spread of Kali in Kali Yuga. And he then says that he was explaining this to Sanakati brothers, and he was saying that he while he was witnessing all this, he wandered and he reached Vrindavan, where he saw another sight. And he said that how he saw a lady who was Bhakti, lying, I mean, Bhakti sitting, being very sad, and near her two old sons, were there, and how she introduced him and asked him that why am I looking so young and why my sons are looking so old. And he explained it's because of the Kali Yuga's influence. And then she asked that why Sri Hari is allowing this, and he says that Sri Hari knows, and he only is allowing it because this is a very special yuga. Even though because of the spread of unrighteousness, people's mind will be very disturbed. But those people who are able to go beyond and do devotion to Krishna, that person will get liberated. So that's why this, and he is waiting. He will come, but he is waiting for the right time. So that's this recap of the last session. So let's continue what happens after this. So while they are conversing, that is Bhakti Devi and Narada Muni, he further tells Bhakti, reassures her that thinking of Sri Krishna can dispel all worries. So, and he's always there for all his devotees. And he says that just like how he protected Draupadi and girls of Raja. Then he reminds that Bhakti Devi, she is more precious to Krishna than his own life. And if somebody has bhakti in their heart, even in the most humblest homes where bhakti is present in people's heart, Krishna will definitely come. And he says that in the previous three yugas, Satyug, Treta Yuga, and Dwapar Yuga, people attained liberation through Jnana and Vairagya because they were very strong. But in Kali Yuga, people will not, because their minds are so distracted, they will not be interested in Gyan or Vairagya, because even if they want to, there will be thousands of things to distract them. Um, even the forests are cut, so there is not many forests left to do if you want to go and go on the Vairagya also. So, and animals are more hungry, so you might get eaten up. So he says that people attain liberation through spiritual knowledge and dispassion at that time, but now in Kali Yuga, devotion is the only way to connect to Brahman. Shri Krishna created, and he says, he's reassuring her. So she says, he created you in the form of a beautiful girl, and you are beloved of Krishna. And when you came to be, you asked, what should I do? And Krishna told you that, if requested you that please look after my devotees, to which you agreed. And being happy about it, Krishna actually gave Mukti as your servant and Gyan and Vairagya as your sons. And you came to earth, taking them with you. And when you came here in the Kali Yuga, Mukti went on decay, under, just like if you see this Gyan and Vairagya, two old men lying there, like that, something like that happened to Mukti also, because people were not interested in Mukti. They were doing all sorts of, indulging in all sorts of things. And in the name of Mukti, they were doing so. Her name has also got spoiled. So then Bhakti told her, you can go back. You go back to the Vaikunda. And then Narada Muni is saying that she will come only when you call her. And she will listen to and help or your devotees, or the devotees who have you in their heart. And but you decided to retain your sons here. And then he says that your sons have become old and weak because they were neglected. But I'm going to find a solution. While I'm talking to you about all of this incidents, I'm trying to find a solution. And I will establish you in every home and every person. Then he says that fondness for bhakti comes only after thousands of life. So I need to find a solution which makes it happen quickly. Then he says that now he's going to tell about the importance or how bhakti is so powerful. He says that in Kali Yuga, even the sinners with devotion in their heart. Actually, I wanted to say, if you have any question, please raise your hands, because I'll just go like without a stop. So you can stop me. Okay. So in Kali Yuga, even sinners with devotion in their heart will go to Sri Krishna's abode, which is free from all fear, provided they have devotion in their heart. And then he says that people whose hearts are filled with love and devotion, not even sinners, okay, their heart is full of love and devotion. They will never see Yama. They will never see any negative entities, spirits, demons, ghosts. Nothing of the sorts will even come near them. He says that you cannot, in this yuga, you cannot win Sri Hari through austerities, studying of Vedas, spiritual knowledge, or even good action. If devotion is not there, only if devotion is there, you will be able to meet Hari. You can and he gave the example of the cow gopis of Vraja as a proof. And he says that anyone who goes hostile against devotion or true devotees will suffer in all three worlds. And he gives the example of Sage Durvasa, who once insulted the king Ambarasya. I'll tell you the story. So, if does anybody know the story of Durvasa and King Ambarasya? Okay. Okay, so I'll tell you.
I just wanted to like I think it's the same as Ambarish,
Yeah,
King Ambarish. That's the
Ambarish. Yeah.
oh yeah. I just
Actually,
wanted to
Ambarish,
yeah
not Ambarasya.
yeah, no problem. And actually at this point I also wanted to like put this question across that I am sure we are going to get answer as we move forward. Is like, devotion, without devotion nothing is possible, right? As Narad Muni has very very clearly specified in Kali Yuga, we cannot attain Hari without devotional heart. How to cultivate that? That's like really the immediate question that comes to the mind, because that's something, it's not straightforward. It's not just a word that we can listen and incorporate in our lives. So more than that. So yeah, I'm sure we are going to listen to that, but let's start thinking in our own heads as well that, how are we
Yeah,
going to
and we discussed that in the last class also in Bhagavad Gita, like the very first stage in the Ashtanga Yoga, Yama, Niyama, like that. So in the Bhakti Marg, first we participate, we meet bhaktas, we start doing karma yoga, thinking about the God, and then doing our actions, which will gradually purify, and then it will make us ready to do deeper contemplation, dharana. Then we'll start dhyan, which is what happened to King Parikshit. He attained dharana through the knowledge of the Shrimad Bhagavatam, and then he did dhyan, where he realized his oneness with Bhagavan. So there, that's if new people are there, they can attend the Bhagavad Gita sessions, and we are like in line with that, and we can learn more deeply. The process.
Yeah, and actually another thing I had come across was, in order to develop faith or devotion towards God, there are like two basic necessary things. One is Sukriti, and the second is association of devotees. And Sukriti means connecting with anything related to Krishna. Now, it could be the prasad of Krishna, it could be the knowledge provided to us by Krishna, it could be uh, association of saints or Rasik saints. So, anything, Naam, Roop, Gun, Leela, Dham, Sant, right?
Mm.
So, anything we connect with, even unknowingly, that helps developing Sukriti. And once we develop that Sukriti, just an addition of association of lovers of Krishna will do its magic of developing devotion. So that's how we start receiving the grace and move forward. So, yeah.
That's a very, very powerful nugget, that we can carry in our heart, Sukriti, and association of saints, right? Yes. So, okay. So let's go ahead. So he says that in Kali Yuga, even sinners with devotion in their heart will go to Shri Krishna's abode. And he says that people whose hearts are filled with love, and devotion. They will never come across any negative entities. And he says that you cannot win Krishna through austerities. There should be a devotion in your heart. And then he comes to the King Ambrosio story. So let me tell you that. So King Ambrosio was a very ardent devotee of Lord Vishnu, Sri Hari. And as a boon, he had uh, the Sudarshan Chakra. He had his own Sudarshan Chakra that Vishnu Bhagwan has given him. So he was doing a vrata, an austerity, which was called Dwadashi austerities. He did not eat anything on those days for around 1 year, 12 months, and he was about to finish that the austerity. And then Indra became very jealous. He said, "Oh, if he finishes it, he already has a chakra. He will become, king of. He'll take my place." So he became very jealous, and he was like thinking of devising some way to stop this. So at that time, Durvasa Rishi came. So he is known for his anger. So he came to meet Indra, and he told about this King Ambarish. And he said that, "Oh, did you hear he's going to finish his vrat on this particular day?" I said, "Really? I must go. I heard a lot about him." So now Indra knew that if he goes there, he'll find some fault. So Indra was very happy. Oh, now he's going, and everything will be, his problem will get solved. So King Ambarish was happy. He did all his, pujas and everything, and it was around like evening time, and there Durvasamani comes. He welcomes him, and he says that, "I heard a lot about you. I want to see you break your fast." So he says that, "Sure, sure. When the time comes, I will definitely do it. We can eat together." He says, "Yes." Then Durvasamani says, "Okay, I have to go and take a bath, and I'll come, as soon as I can." And Durvasamani leaves there to take a bath. And then after a lot of like, it takes a lot of time for him to return. He and King Ambarish is waiting and waiting and waiting, and the temple priest tells him that the time will go away. You must break your fast, otherwise, auspicious time will go away. He keeps, and King Ambarish keeps saying no, but it was like, now you have to. Then at least drink a little water. You only said that you will eat food with Sage Durvasa, you can have a sip of water. So King Ambarish said, "Yeah, sounds logical. So let me." And the moment he takes a sip, immediately Durvasa comes there. Sage Durvasa and says, "Oh, you did that. I wanted to see you break your fast, and you did this. I'm cursing you that you," and he just took out a hair and just threw in the floor, and a big Rakshas came. A demon came. He said, Kill King Ambarish." So the moment the demon started, running towards King Ambarish, the Sudarshan Chakra came, and he killed the demon immediately. And now the second target was Durvasa Muni himself. So the chakras just the Sudarshan chakra just ran behind him, and now this King Durvasa started running, and he ran and ran, and he reached Brahmalok. And in Brahmalok, he said, "I cannot do. Maybe you ask help from Lord Shiva." So he again ran with the Sudarshan chakra behind him, and Lord Shiva said, "You actually insulted the devotee of Sri Hari. So no one in this world can help you. Maybe Lord Vishnu can, you go and ask." Lord Vishnu also said, "I cannot do. You have to apologize to the devotee. Then only he can do it." So then King Durvasa comes and falls on his leg and seeks, forgiveness. And King Ambarish says, I, I didn't mean any of this to happen. I forgive you." And immediately it goes away. So that's the power of the devotees, true devotees. And if anyone goes hostile against, them, they suffer in all the three worlds. That was the story that Narada was telling to Bhakti. So he was actually trying to strengthen her hopes and her faith. So, and he says, if I fail to spread you throughout the world, placing you above all religions and spiritual practices, then I am no longer a true servant of Sri Hari. So when she hears this, she becomes extremely happy. Then Narada further says that forget about vows, all these fastings, pilgrimages, spiritual disciplines, sacrifices, talking about spiritual knowledge. Only devotion can give you liberation. And bhakti alone is supreme in Kali Yuga. And as a result of bhakti, Krishna will reveal himself to his devotees. Then Sutta Muni. Now, this is what was happening. Sutta Muni was the one who's saying. So when Narada explained this to Bhakti, of her greatness and of her strength, of her greatness, her strength is fully restored, and she expresses her gratitude and promises him that I will be always, I will remain in your heart. And he says, she thanks him and says that now that you have restored my hope, you have restored my strength, can you please help my sons, Gyan and Vairagya, who remains unconscious at this place? Then Sudamani continues and he says that Narada, hearing her, hearing her plea and wanting to help her, he tries to awake Gyan and Vairagya. He first tries to press them with their fingers and, kind of, wake up. But they were not. Then he calls loudly in their ears, wake up, Gyan, wake up, Vairagya. They were not waking up. And then somehow he did a lot of chanting and things. And somehow they were hard, barely able to stand, and they were like just stood up. And then their they were still having white hairs and frail bodies, and they looked very weak and barely able to keep their eyes open. So this worried Narada a lot, and he just thought, what should I do? And he was not getting an answer because they are still lying around, like they're not waking up, they don't have any enough strength. So Bhakti also looked very concerned, and she's, she nobody knows what to do. So Narada just seeks, thinks of Krishna, and then there from the, heavens, a sound comes, and it is, "O sage, do not lose hope. You have to perform a righteous act. If you perform the righteous act, their Gyan and Vairagya, their old age and sleep will disappear, and the holiest of the saints, you will meet them and they will show you the way." So this was kind of very, very interesting, kind of, they say Akashvani, heaven, divine sound, the heavens speaking. So he said that, what do they mean by doing a righteous act? What kind of a righteous act are they talking about? And if- whom should I meet? Whom should I ask? So then, in order to help Bhakti Devi, he just thinks that I must go and I must find these sages first. So he goes on a journey, and he thinks about pious people will be found on sacred places. So he just goes, and travels from one place to the other, seeking answers from great sages, whomever he met along the way. And here he talks to everyone that he meets on the way. He tells him the story of Devi and their Gyan and Vairagya, and everybody is like saying the same thing. I think this is a mystery which is unsolvable. It is too profound to comprehend. We don't know what to do. Some will become silent once they listen, and some will, like, quietly they will slip away from the place, not knowing and not saying the wrong thing. And some says that even after chanting Vedas, Upanishads, singing Gita verses, if the Gyan and Vairagya are not awakening, then th- there might not be any solution for this problem. And Narada, believing this, the sound from the heavens, he kept on going. But his concern was also increasing because he was not getting the answer. And everybody was saying that this task is really impossible. So filled with worry, Narada finally decides to go to Badrika Ashrama. And resolving that he will practice austerities there, he went towards Badrika Ashrama. And there he went and he was doing his austerities. And that's when he meets Sanakadi brothers. So Sanakadi Rishis, they were actually his elder brothers. So he actually, the moment he sets his eyes upon them, he becomes extremely happy. And his, yes, Sandhya.
Yeah, I just wanted to at this point like take a pause, and I think it is quite interesting, right? That the Sanakadi Rishis, they're really young. I mean, in terms of the so-called age that we refer to, right? They're like, I don't remember the exact five. Okay, yeah. But then in the spiritual context, they are the elder brothers of Rishi Narada, and in fact, they are the ones who were, I think, protecting the four Vedas, and right that
Uh, mm,
I
I
think
don't.
that came from Brahmaji, and they were kind of, each one of them were kind of protecting each one of the Vedas, and then there
o-
is this mention in Vishnu Puran, like I have seen it in seen,
Okay.
not like
So
read
could
it
be
in
because
Vishnu
there are four,
Puran.
right? So
Yeah.
we never know if they are the Vedas in person. So don't know.
Yeah, they are the personified form of all the four Vedas, the four Sankadic rishis. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, that's now looking forward to further conversation along what happened between Narad Muni and all the four rishis. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, so na the Sankadi brothers, they met him, and actually, it they are very young, right? So we are also these children are supposed to be very close to God, right? So they decided that they don't want to grow. And the reason it will come here that, Narada Muni actually praises them, looking at them. He says that, what great fortune to see them. And, he wants their guidance. And he says that, they are great yogis, even though they looked only 5 years old. They were older than anyone else because they were the first creations of Brahma. And he says that they are eternally present in Vaikunta, and they always sing that Srihari is my savior. So, and that is why they are untouched by age or time. So they are that, surrendered, that kind of souls. And they only, live solely on the bliss of these pastimes, which is singing the names and glories of Sri Hari. And then Narada recalls that how once a small frown on their face caused by Jaya and Vijaya made them fall down, come to earth. And later they grant them, because of their grace, and way to go back to Vaikunta. Does anybody know the story of Jaya and Vijaya?
I think I can briefly say what I remember, but if there's anybody else who wants to speak, that will be even better. Or put it in the chat. Anything is fine. So I can proceed. So what I remember is, I think, so all four of them wanted to eagerly do the darshan of Vishnu ji and Lakshmi ji, and that's why they proceeded towards Vaikunta. And at the entry point, there was Jay and Vijay, who were the Dwarpal, right, of Vaikunta, and they did not know like how
Really?
important
Uh,
are bhaktas to Lord Vishnu, right? Like nothing matters, like whether he's resting, whatever activity he's engaged in, the devotees become a biggest priority for the god. But Jay and Vijay were just thinking as part of their service towards the Lord. They did not want Vishnu ji and Lakshmi ji to get disturbed at that hour. And that's why they stopped all the four rishis to enter into Vaikunt. And that annoyed them as part of the Leela, the bigger Leela. But they then ended up cursing them. That now, okay, specifics of that curse, I think it was like two options. Either you face separation for like 7 lifetimes or something, or be an enemy of Lord, take dissension like that, and just in 3 lifetimes you can come back to Vaikunt and serve. And then, of course, for them, it doesn't matter what role they are going to play, but the separation should be as minimal as possible. And then I think eventually it turned out that they ended up choosing that. And then they were the ones who were like Ravan and Kumbhakaran, Kans and Shishupal, right? And in Satyug, Hiranyakashipu and his brother
Hiranyaksha.
Hiranyaksh. Perfect. So it's Jay and Vijay who actually took the form of the so-called negative character in the Leelas of Shri Vishnu in all these 3 yugas, right? So yeah, that's what I know.
Yes, beautiful. That's the story. Here, some small things that would like to add was that Sri Hari was in I mean, Vishnu Bhagwan was in Yog Nidra. So that's the reason. Another was they were like small kids. So said they didn't pay importance to the, you know, who they are. So he was like, no, no kids, please go. And this is how can you stop?
Actually, that's a very important point, right? Like, how are you internally cannot be reflected in your externals. How
Yes,
much connected deeply you are to God cannot be defined by any external.
yes,
And you should refrain from judging anybody based upon that, right? It's a very big learning that way. True.
yes, yes. And another thing was the he was when the curse happened, they fell on their legs, Sanakadi brothers, and immediately Vishnu Bhagwan appeared. But Vishnu Bhagwan could, reverse it. But he said, no, I want to keep the word of my devotees. So he said that, okay, but I will give you 2 choices that you mentioned. And in that, the 7 day was 7 lifetimes of being my bhakta or being an enemy for 3 lifetimes. So that was the choice. So they wanted to go quickly. And also he says that sometimes people consider, Bhagwan as their, something bad happens in their life and they says, I don't trust in Bhagwan anymore. And probably, it's just like your mind, whenever you don't want to think about someone or something, it keeps thinking about that only. So that is kind of, if you just direct that towards Bhagwan, what magic it can happen in your life. This story is also example of that. So yeah, so then he asked them to yeah, so he was just praising them that he felt very blessed. Narada felt very blessed to see them, and he asked that kindly please help me. This is my situation. So that's what we read in the previous discourse also, that he was telling how I the whole story, how I met them, and he explained the whole situation, and he said that can you please help me explain the spiritual practice that was hinted at? What righteous act am I supposed to perform and on how to perform this? So the Kumaras now they are telling about the importance of, not importance is like what is Bhagavatam in our language, how we can compare it. And he says that it holds the essence and the ultimate teaching of the Vedas and Upanishads, containing their highest wisdom. And he says, just like a vital juice that runs through a tree has juices running through it, right? But it is most enjoyed in the fruit. Like that, Bhagavatam is the fruit of the Vedas. And it captures and engages the mind. Then they give another example, just like ghee is hidden in the milk, and one needs to churn it and get it out, and and then it becomes more enjoyable. Like that is what the teachings of Bhagavatam is. Once revealed, it brings immense joy even to gods. So that was another example. And then they mentioned about the sugar cane. This is the sweetness in sugarcane juice. Sugarcane juice is also sweetness, but when you condense it, it becomes much more sweeter. Like that, Bhagavatam concentrates the wisdom of Vedas. So when a person, and he says, this sacred text, the Bhagavata Purana, is on the same level as Vedas. And don't you remember Sage Vyasa? You only told him about Bhagavatam. And he actually wrote the this book, Shrimad Bhagavatam, to strengthen Bhakti, Gyan, and Vairagya. So these three things. Yes, Sandhya.
Right, this just reminded me of this anecdote that I've heard, like that sage Vyasa, Ved ji was so much like somewhere discontented inside, right? Like when he was done
Writing.
reconciling all the Vedas and right, it was like something is missing, and that is when he got the, I think, inspiration and instruction to write Shrimad Bhagavatam, and that is what contented finally, because without that, without bhakti, there is no satisfaction, right? So,
Correct. So that, yeah, like he wrote all the Vedas, he wrote all the Puranas, and he wrote Mahabharata, he wrote Adhyatma Ramayana, but still he was feeling discontented. So that's when Narada Muni appeared there and helped him out. So you wrote about everything, you wrote about all the spiritual practices, but not even once you mentioned about bhakti. So write a book. And he actually starts with his own story, how he became a bhakta. We'll learn about it in coming sessions, and like all very excited to share that and read about it. So yeah, it's beautiful. So he says that now they are making him remember, don't you remember about the Srimad Bhagavatam, which Sage Vedyas wrote, and he wrote it specifically to strengthen the bhakti, jnana, and vairagya only. And he says about that, about the confusion and remorse of Vyasa. And Narada just gave them, at that time, Bhagavatam was not written. It just had 4 verses in it. And he gave them that. And then Ved Vyas, just using that as a mantra, he remembered and he looked at all the devotees' stories in his, he had this visions that he just compiled throughout, all the yugas. It starts from Satya Yuga, the stories. Kapila Maharshi, there are around 22 or 24 avatars of Vishnu Bhagwan is being mentioned. So he just goes one after one and he compiles it there in this book. So finally, the Kumaras questions why Narada is surprised, saying that reading Srimad Bhagavatam awakens Jnana and Vairagya, and it will remove all their grief and sorrow. So you must, all that you have to do is this. Then Narada remembers and he says that, great sages, you are fully absorbed in the story of Srimad Bhagavatam sung, and this is also sung by Lord Shesh, Sheshnag, and with his 1,000 mouths. He expressed his hope in finding refuge with them. He said, please help me to spread the light of divine love. I want to spread bhakti. And he says that simply seeing them has dispelled the evils and doubts. And Narada added that simply seeing them dispels evil and brings happiness to those burdened by worldly sorrows. And I also feel the same, so because you answered the question. Now, only by accumulated good fortune of many lifetimes does one gain the company of saints. The satsang will happen only because of that. Because even if it is happening, you might get very busy and you won't be able to attend. So he's saying the importance of satsang, and he says that I'm able to see you by my fortune. And he says, Narada concluded that it is only in such saintly company that wisdom dawns. I forgot about all about the Srimad Bhagavatam, but you reminded me. This is clearing away ignorance and pride. So this ends the second discourse titled A Dialogue Between Kumaras and Narada from Glory of Srimad Bhagavatam in the Uttarakhand of Padma Purana. So another day of privilege. Thank you so much.
wonderful. Thank you so much. So like just to remind everyone here, what we are doing is through the stories of conversations that happened, uh, which we know from Uttarakhand and Srimad Bhagavatam, we are going to learn about how to practice bhakti. learn from the bhaktas and all the sages, how they were motivated to spread the love for God and what all can be done. And Shrimad Bhagavatam is like just the epitome of it, right? So having an opportunity to be able to learn from there, discuss it is a sheer blessing of God. Yeah. So thank you so much, Pradushari, for facilitating that for all of us. Yeah.
I'm also blessed to be able to, I'm learning with you guys. So I'm also very, very new. But somewhere this seed of learning, is being planted and is there. So I'm just trying to spread it around.
Awesome. So I think like at this point, I feel like we can just have a question. So, how can we make Gyan and Vairagya younger again? That is the question that Bhakti Devi had to start with. And that's where the conversation between Narad Muni and Bhakti Devi started. Like she's really concerned about her two kids, which are Gyan and Vairagya, who have become really old, who have lost all the energy, and she wants to revive them, right? So, what do we think is the way to revive them? Anybody?
Anything, you can say anything, right? So
It's just more
I think
about
it's
interaction.
right or wrong.
Of course, yeah. How can we awaken knowledge and detachment? How can we bring them into our lives?
Um,
See, all silent? Okay, Sri Ramya ji. Awesome. Go for it. I think you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think they follow Bhakti. Where Bhakti is there, Jnana and Vairagya automatically come.
Yes, perfect. And I think one way, like, which is suggested by all the four Kumaras is to learn Shrimad Bhagavatam, right? Hear Shrimad Bhagavatam, and that will itself revive both the sons of Bhakti Devi. Wonderful.
Another way is just by common examples, where if suppose we go through a particular place, say near a river bank, okay, and our leg slipped and we fell in the water. Now with great difficulty, we came out from that whole situation. So now we know the gyan, we have the gyan that don't go there, it's very slippery, and then we'll naturally develop vairagya. We'll not
That's
go.
true. So knowledge will dispel ignorance, and that will
And it will help,
result in detachment. Yeah.
and it will help remove, somebody puts a post there, don't go, so the knowledge everybody now knows,
Association of satsang, right? Yeah, absolutely. So at this stage, if we do not have more to discuss, can we do the Damodarashtakam one verse like the fourth? I think we need to do the third one right now.
yes.
I'll share my screen, and then, as always, you can sing in your beautiful melodious voice and we all can relish it. Third
Yeah.
one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yes. Yeah, Shriramya ji, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, please.
I raised hand for Damodarashtakam only.
Awesome, awesome. So, okay. So, both of you can sing it one after the other.
Yeah. So this I can't see actually. Is this
Okay.
the Itidrik
Yeah,
Itidrik.
that's one. That's the third one. Yeah.
Itidrik swalilabhiranandagunde स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तमाख्यापयन्तम् इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तमाख्यापयन्तम् तदीशताज्ञेषु भक्तर्चितत्वम् तदीयशताज्ञेषु भक्तर्चितत्वम् पुनः प्रेमतस्तं सता वृत्तिवन्दे पुनः प्रेमतस्तं सता वृत्तिवन्दे.
Beautiful. So, just to again give the context. So, this is Damodar Ashtakam. This is the Kartik month at present, and we have been trying to sing one verse every week This is about Damodar Leela of Lord Krishna, which is with Maya Yashoda, one of the very, very beautiful Leelas. So the third verse, meaning, do you want to read? Should I read?
You go ahead.
Okay, so I'll just read the meaning of this verse. By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. We know he is none other than our beloved Krishna, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. This is such an important point, right? This talks about that God is Bhaktvashya. Only way to bind him is through pure love. And it should be free from awe and reverence. So, no Aishwarya Bhav. It should be pure love. Forget that you are much, much bigger, I'm much, much smaller aspect over there, and just have pure love, considering him as your own. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodara hundreds and hundreds of times. Okay, at this point, Shri Ramyaji, you can also go ahead.
Yeah. इति त्रिक्स्वलीलाभैरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमाचन्तम् अख्यापयन्तम् तदेये सिताग्नेषु भक्तर्चितात्वं पुनः प्रेमतास्तं सता व्रतिवन्दे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे हरे श्री राधा दामोदर की जय Thank you.
Jai.
Thank you, Shri Ramya ji. Sandhya, I actually shared a Facebook small reel that you can put here that speaks about the, how bringing Aishwarya Shakti takes God away. So if you can
Right
share.
now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's very beautiful.
Let me first open it in the meanwhile. So just to, in the meanwhile, you can announce about tomorrow we will have Bhagavad Gita satsang at the same time, same place.
Yes, at same time, same place. And I think there is a time difference in US happening
When is it happening?
tomorrow morning.
Oh, thanks. I did not know. So it will become like 8:30 for people in India. So it will be 8:30 a.m. instead of 7:30 a.m. Right? That's what happens, I think,
I
every
know.
year.
I don't think for them anything is going to change. It's for us that things will change.
No, so the relative thing changes basically. If it changes for us, sorry.
You
Yeah, don't worry. I think if it changes, then that's
yeah,
all.
we can put that time.
Okay, so let me play this. I don't think I'm in the beginning and I don't know how can I. Okay. In a voice and he said, "Can you want
hear
to
it?
use my Shankar Chakra?
Yes, we can.
All these days,
Can
you
you
treated me like a son,
just
so I
go
treated you like
back?
I am not seeing the way to, like,
Oh.
or maybe I can just refresh it. It will start from the start, okay? There's a woman in Vrindavan who used to be extremely devoted to Krishna to the point that she would talk to Krishna in her home. She treated Krishna like her child. One day, she went to the backyard and she was chatting with a neighbor, trying to talk about something. And from inside the house, she can hear Krishna calling. Constantly, he's interrupting her. And finally, he screams, says, "There's a cat that's come into the house. I'm very scared." At this point, she gets extremely irritated and she says, "You have the Shankha Chakra at your disposal, no? Why are you getting so scared of a cat? Use the Shankha Chakra then." And at that point, he spoke to her in a voice and he said, "You want me to use my Shankha Chakra? I will. All these days, you treated me like a son, so I treated you like a mother. Now you want to remember that I'm Paramatma. I'm again distant from you. I'm God." This is an undoing of a spiritual truth. Spiritual truth is remember that he's God, remember that he's everywhere. Krishna Bhakti is saying, forget even that. Just fall in love.
Yeah, that's
There's a woman. Awesome. So just fall in love, forget everything else.
yes.
Great. So that's a wonderful way to conclude. And I see Rahulji's hand raised. Rahulji, please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe, Radhe. Yeah, there is a time change that daylight saving will be ending. So I think the tomorrow's session will be at 6:30 a.m. India time,
Oh, wow.
because right now I think it is
Are you sure?
7:30 a.m. Yeah, you have to double check, but the daylight saving is ending, so it will change in India also. The timing will
It
little
will
bit change.
change, but every year it changes to 8:30. That's what I remember. But anyways, we can cross check and we can put it in the group for everybody. But
Yeah.
most likely, I think it should be 8:30. But okay, we'll check. With that, if there's nothing else, should we close it?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I was just trying to quickly check, but I could not. But
We'll
we'll
put
put
it
that.
in the community. We'll put it in the community, whatever is the final update. Okay. So
Yeah.
thank you all for joining. Thank you, Pratusha Di, for leading
Thank
it
you
so
so much.
beautifully. And look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.